Hey folks, last night's game versus the Kings. We're going to break it all down for you and get into the next tilt versus the Flyers. And you know what? We're going to find out how Coach went to jail. Yep, coming right up on the OZone.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach, that's KD, I'm the Devo, we're here to talk all things Leafs. Let's get started. A bit of a downer last night versus the Kings. A lot of skating, a lot of chances for both teams. KD, what'd you see, what'd you like?
Well, I mean, you got to be careful about liking a 5-1 loss. Lots of periods in that game, they were kind of crappy. Defense looked slow and all that stuff, but they pushed back. I think the score didn't reflect. I mean, I think the game was closer than that. They had chances to score. I thought they did a pretty good job second half and kind of had a good push in the third. So if there's anything, I don't want to pull a Razor Ruddock and be happy about a loss, but you got to I mean, they pushed back. They just didn't have it today. Flat game.
Yeah, I'll admit it, 5-1 loss. I was still watching right to the end, so you're right, there was definitely a pushback in the third. Coach, what'd you like?
I didn't get a chance to see it. I was on a flight back from Phoenix, but the good news is I got to hear Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph on the radio, on the old airplane Wi-Fi internet radio. It was such a delight to hear Joe and Ralphie. You don't hear them very often. Mike, Devo, I think we got a picture of me and Joe Bowen. I tracked him down in L.A. about 3 years ago. He could not wait to get away from me in this photo. Maybe it is a trend. And my buddy who took the picture, he's an L.A. native. He comes up to me after, goes, "Hey, we don't do that." I'm like, don't do what? He said, "Well, we don't stop stars and take pictures. This is L.A." I'm like, that's Joe Bowen. I got to get his picture. So anyway, that was nice. Also, fellas, you will acknowledge I did text before the game and said this feels like a trap game.
Yeah.
I feel a loss coming on. So that's about it, though. I didn't really have anything else I liked.
Yeah, I got to say I didn't like much. I didn't like the play of the D. The forwards were buzzing a little bit, but tons of odd man rushes against. Goaltender wasn't great. I guess I like the power play goal. It's nice that we have a bit of a trend going there. We keep moving up the standings on our power play. So it's been producing for about a week. Other than that, not a lot of bright spots. So I won't belittle it anymore. Let's talk about what you didn't like, Coach. Why don't you break it down for us?
For sure. I don't like that I'm here in the Boston area right now in a resident inn, which the room is lovely. But I'm in the belly of the beast right now. You're always got your head on a swivel, getting your ass. But I would say this. So I'm listening to the game, as I said, and the first goal goes in, Trevor Moore, and I hear Trevor Moore. Him? Here? Now?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that coming. But anyway, he scores, and then I look at the social media, and everybody's on Campbell. Well, then I saw the highlight. And I'd like to break that down. I don't like the way that this was approached. So if you look, they chip the puck out at their blue line, and Liljegren is immediately in a bad position. He's beat. 2 seconds into this clip, he's beat. But what he doesn't do is what you teach every young defenseman to do. If you're beat like that, you don't follow the guy up the outside. You get inside the dots, and you go straight for your post. Right. Straight for the near post. He didn't do that, and he was never going to catch up. But it wasn't so much Liljegren. If you look at the way that clip starts, we're going to roll it again here. Sandin is a full zone back when Moore gets the puck. He's at our blue line, and he can't get over. When he sees his partner is beat, he's got to go to that guy. There was no 2-on-1. He has to go. He reacted like Hugh Grant, and you guys are fans of the movie Notting Hill, right? Notting Hill, he pauses. There's Julia Roberts. It's just a girl in front of a boy asking him to love her. And he pauses, he hesitates. Sandin, you can't hesitate there. You got to go. You know how you have to go? You have to go like this guy Lavelle Crawford at a buffet.
Right.
You think anyone's holding him up? By the way, Lavelle Crawford, really funny comic. You should check him out. So I didn't like that goal, right? And obviously didn't like the loss, but hey, we weren't going to win them all. That's what I've got. There's my video analysis. Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Katie, what's
hard to follow that performance there. What I didn't like was the crowd. Like I was really watching that third period. I was actually embarrassed. I mean, it was Leafs trying to make a push, trying to get some energy. Actually, they came out with some and getting lots of shots on net, and you could hear crickets. I mean, you could hear a conversation from across the room. That was terrible. Like this Leaf team, there's a narrative around this team about being soulless and not having the heart and not being able to push through when it really mattered. Like, hard to believe that Leaf Nation could talk with that, then sit in the stands and sit on their hands the whole time. If you're going to be a fan, jump, yell, scream, heckle, do something, but don't be quiet. There's nothing worse than a full, quiet house. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. Absolutely.
Yeah, buying a $25 drink doesn't give you the right to be quiet. Make some noise out there.
Yeah.
And there's seats available. Listen, Leafs Nation, listen closely. You want to go to a Leaf game? Go buy tickets and go. When have you remembered that at the ACC? There's seats available.
Yeah, man.
Hey, guys, the Notting Hill reference, like, you were with me on that, right?
All over.
I mean...
I got a little weepy, to be honest.
Dusty.
Is that the one where she pretends she's a prostitute?
No, that was the other one.
I gotta talk about one thing. The Leafs always have a guy on most teams that they make look like superstars. And Leafs fans will see these guys rolling into town and go, well, these guys are all-stars. And they're not. This last offseason, the Leafs managed to get Philippe Deneau a huge contract. Good for him. He had a decent postseason last year versus the Leafs. Other than that, it was a pretty pedestrian season for a free agent center in the NHL. He gets a great contract. He comes into this year, it's Philippe Deneau. Comes and plays the Leafs, bam, 2 goals, 3 points. Eats them up in the face-off dot, makes them look like Leafs fans sit there and go like, this guy's a superstar. He's not. He's only good against the Leafs. Reminds me of Domi's kid. I think the guy scored 85% of his goals against the Leafs. They do this. They find guys and make them look like superstars. Philippe Deneau, I bet you wish you were playing the Leafs every week. The face-off dot. The Leafs have been really strong on that all year, and they kind of got punched in the mouth there yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I don't think 91 had a draw the third period. They threw him out of the dot. Every time he just skated in and they threw him out. Oh. I don't know what the refs were doing. Not a huge fan of how that game was called last night. I thought it was pretty one-sided how that game was called. Look at 25 this year. It's not just in the game last night, but certainly in the game last night. That guy, we were told as Leafs fans coming in, this guy's probably not going to play much for you. He's always hurt. The guy's always hurt. Well, he comes into Toronto. He literally gets beaten in the face with a 2x4 every night, and he keeps playing. I couldn't believe the abuse he took last night. He took a boarding last night that should have been a suspension. He pops right back up. He got stomped in front of the net, literally stomped in the back of the head in front of the net. No call. Skates off the ice and comes back 2 shifts later. I'm pretty amazed at how tough this guy is, because we were sold that he was barely going to play. And 36, he wasn't amazing last night. And the only way the Leafs were going to pull that one out is if he was a superstar. And he was pretty pedestrian last night. Maybe at best. Okay, that was last night. That was then. This is now. Let's break it down. Let's run some predictions. Let's talk about what's up next, and that is a trip to Philadelphia versus the Flyers. Yeah. Coach, we'll start with you. What happens when the Leafs play the Flyers?
Well, KD, you and I have a little history in Philadelphia. Before I say that, I feel like it's a bounce back game. I'm calling 4-1 Leafs. I think Matthews gets one. And you long-time listeners of the pod, you may recognize that one. But look, Philadelphia, KD and I were on a trip, about 20 guys. The first game ever in that barn. It was then the Core States Arena. We drove down for the World Cup of Hockey. We saw Canada play the U.S. August 31st, 1996. Long time ago. We left the Chicken Deli in Toronto after closing and drove all night to get there. And then we spent most of the next day pre-gaming. It was ugly. But I got arrested. I couldn't believe it. So we had an extra couple of tickets. I was trying to sell them, and you can't scalp there. And the cops were all over the place. Got a warning, can't scalp. Okay, fine. Stop scalping. And we're going in, and a guy comes out, and I could see he bought tickets, and I just asked him, hey, what'd you pay for those? Boom, I'm in handcuffs. So I got arrested for scalping. And I don't know if you know this, but in that arena, there's a jail underneath the stands. I'm in the jail before the game, about 45 minutes before. But it was such a new building, there's no lock on the door. There's no doorknob. It's just the door. So I'm sitting there. I'm getting bored. I'm there for a few minutes. I only have one ticket in my pocket, so I couldn't have been scalping. I go open the door, poke my head out and say, hey, fellas, can you just let me go? That was a mistake. Because the guy comes, rams me against the wall. By the way, if you've ever had cuffs tighten on you, they don't loosen after. So they're tight. Anyway, long story short, I got through it. We watched the game. Canada lost 5-3. It was a disaster. But it was a really fun time. So my prediction is that they have locks on the jail cells in that barn now.
Welcome to the city of brotherly love. I think all their stadiums have jails in the basement. That says something. KD, what do you think, or do you remember anything about Philly?
Well, I do remember spilling a couple large pints on a poor young girl's down her top when she was sitting in front of me. She wasn't too happy. She jumped up with hate in her eyes and asked her boyfriend to beat me up, but he was in a sea of red shirts and he realized he was a little outman. So he sat back and this poor girl yelled at him for a period and a half before they left. But the good news is I had 4 pints. They served me 4 pints. I only dropped 2 on top of her. So I had 2 pints for the rest of the game. So that was all right. But my prediction is Leafs are going to flip this score. We're going to go 5-3. Philly is good. They're always good before All-Star break. That's their way. They come out of the gate really well. It's a much better team than last year. If Hart can keep them in it, I think they'll be fine. But I think they give up a lot of penalties and they give up a lot of shots. So Leafs are trending the right way for that. I think the Leafs get on the board early, start on time, to use our cliche, and I think they get into cruise control and they take Philly down 5-3.
Yeah, all right, that's a good call. Philly gives up a lot of shots, and Toronto takes a lot of shots.
Yep.
That's one thing that we know. If we're going to break down the sort of the stats for the year, Toronto has a brutal shooting percentage right now, almost the worst in the league. I think that's going to start to change, but I think it'll be a close one. If I'm going to get into things, Claude Lemieux always kills the Leafs, so I bet you he scores a goal. I think the Leafs pull it out. I'm going to go 3-2 overtime win for the Leafs. I'm going to say 88 scores the winner.
I think you meant Claude Giroux. Claude Lemieux actually played in the hockey game we watched in 1996.
Did I say Claude Lemieux? Gosh.
Yeah. But he was there. Claude Lemieux actually played in the last time we were there.
He played Lemieux was a bit of a nuisance last night in last night's game for
LA.
For the Kings.
Yeah. Hey, Joe Bo and Jim Ralph were all over that. And Ralphie goes, hey, Joe, where do you think he gets that from? Perfect.
Yeah.
Might have been his dad, Anyway, good stuff.
Yeah, that was good. So, 3-2 overtime win for Toronto. You've heard it here first. You tune in when you want to learn about the Leafs. Here we are at the OZone. Take it easy.